if I dated him, like if I went on 2 dates, I would be fine with you pursuing him from a place of like maybe y'all more well suited. But you thought that was a bit
I
wild.
still find that weird. So what's going on, guys?
So what?
It's me, Haiti Leone.
And it's your girl, Jojo Renee, and you are tuned into another episode of Bite the Bullet podcast.
We giving summer with our outfit.
Yo, by the way, how are you survived with a 37 degrees? Talk to me. Because it was hot.
You know, I find it harder today.
Really?
But at work, I think the building the oven's still on or something. Like the building gets so hot that it was still hot today.
It not ferment, it linger.
Yeah. But whereas yesterday it was heating up.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know. But I don't know. I didn't find it that bad.
You know what's crazy? In Manchester it was 22 degrees. Haiti, but guys, this happens to me every time. Every time I like leave the country and it'll just be hot, and wherever I am, it'll be cloudy.
That's true. You had that with Ghana too.
Exact, and St. Lucia and Sable. I don't understand, but I guess if I leave y'all more often, you get better weather. So maybe I should just.
But that shouldn't be the solution.
No, it should not.
But I don't know. Some people was dying. I don't. I
like,
guess I have a thing where
figuratively.
I would hope not.
Oh, I was just about to say, wait, what?
No, but I don't. I have this thing where it's like I could feel the heat.
Yeah.
I could feel hot, but it's not that it is suffocate me or something like how
especially
it was
in
other people. Just anywhere.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. I love feeling the heat in the Caribbean.
Yeah, like it don't really bother me. It's just if I indoors and I feel like there's no air, like today at work, it was just really hard.
But how you doing?
I am good. I feel good. I feel like we're gonna be very honest. We've been pre-recording, so it's not much change the last time.
Oh, that's true.
But I am good. As in,
because even when this come out, it's not like way pre-recorded, so stuff has changed.
As in, but I ain't gonna know how I'm gonna feel when this come out. But I mean, since we last recorded, which was last week,
I understand.
Like, ain't really much change other than I am still good and in it. To win it.
Yeah, you go. You in it to win it.
What about you?
Oh.
You just came back
From Manchester.
Manchester, yeah.
I'm good. I'm happy I went on that trip because honestly, it was as if I was a resident, just from a place of I went to the city, went explore. The next day I went to a Pilates class, went for lunch. Like I found my way around, and it was really like, again, a solo trip. And I just enjoyed it. I did work. I got a new client. So like things have been definitely looking up, thank God. But yeah, no, I love Manchester. I do think it's better than London.
You would go there more than London now?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, high key. I'm going with you. Yeah, Kristen, pull up. But like just from a place of the vibe there is different. The people nicer. The only thing I give London is the food.
Okay.
I feel like London have better food with regards to the options, but also the taste. I had oxtail, of course, and it ain't touch what I had in London. And I also had African food. Even though the fufu does come out from powder, it still ain't really add up to what I just get in London.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I give London. I'll probably go back to London just for the food.
That's really all I go to London for. And shopping, makeup.
Got you. But for the rest, with Manchester, if I go in, say I just want to work in a different country, I will 100% go to Manchester. Yeah. Everybody calls me love. Like, that's such a manny thing. And I love it because I call people lovely. So I don't feel cringe when I'm there. It's like we all make sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then there's just weird stuff that happens, but in a good way. Like the guy singing out of his car that I told you earlier. There were just so many things like that. And I was like, okay, this place is a vibe.
I wonder why they're more friendlier than London.
Because for one, I feel like there's more trees. Like they did a study and they said the more people were surrounded by trees, the happier they were. And I feel like with London is more surrounded by concrete. In Manchester, I could have actually walked in nature more than I feel like I could walk in nature in London. True. So I do feel like maybe they have an impact on people. But also, London is more fast paced. So
yeah, but because the same. This book gonna be in every episode because they were saying that
The power
like
of geography.
up north was like where they used to have all the factories and the
Yeah.
industrial revolution, but then when that kind of like disappeared and didn't exist anymore, everybody had to start moving down to London and settle in London. So I feel like everybody just end up being
Displaced.
yeah, but just in their own individualistic, back to that whole kind of way and fast pace. Whereas I guess if you all there working in the factory, feel more community. I guess did it
I
feel more like a
For
cohesive
well,
environment that everybody just that's how I look at it.
I feel like everybody's still quite individualistic with regard to like they doing their own thing, but their reception to you,
It's
if
different.
interrupted or if you come into their site, is much more welcoming than in
Yeah.
London, or they're much more open to their individualism. Yeah, being interrupted. I
Okay.
feel like in London, you interrupt my individualism, I'm upset.
Yeah.
Like now you ruin my day. But over there, like for example, I went to a card shop, Scriber. I don't know if y'all know it's just
Like
a
I know a
shop full of
website.
cards. But I went because I wanted to buy some. And they was playing Wine Up by Cat de Luna. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I was shimmying, right? And then I go to the cash register and he was like, nice song, huh? But I didn't hear it. So, and he already checked me out. So I said, thank you. And I left. But as I leave it registered. And I was like, yes, this is a really nice song. And like his reception to that also was like, he was hype about it too. So I just feel like you could share good. I saw somebody shoplift right before my eyes. Yeah.
And what kind of
No, that ain't my business.
snitches go snitches?
That ain't my business. He gone. What they gonna do? Run after him for 2 juice and a chips?
Oh, so it was like a supermarket.
Yeah, supermarket. If it was like, don't get me wrong, I see somebody shoplifting JD and I was like, yo, are you go check that? But I was working that day, so I felt like I need to help the people
That's
out.
different. But you would snitch if you see somebody shoplifting?
Not from a supermarket.
Yeah,
But just
I would not
But
snitch
in
for a
general,
supermarket.
you would.
Depends. I say let God decide, but I gonna make it very obvious. I saw the person. I
But
won't
you-
say anything. I'll be like,
But you know what's crazy? God decided to put this person on my walk path on my way back. So I then walking back to my Airbnb. This person then yamming the chips and drinking. He just, and I watch him. I watch his stuff. I watch him again and he watched me. And he know I saw him teach them things. Oh my God. It was hilarious. But also, Tesco. I went to a Tesco for the first time. Tell me why the Tesco is like, it have IKEA, Hema, electronic store, MediaMarkt, Primark in one.
Oh, yeah.
It was
I
amazing.
thought you mean the actual brands.
No, as in like the Tesco had everything. You know how like in NL everything's so compartmentalized. So if you go to Albert Heijn, you go and get in groceries. Then you gotta go Hema if you want to get cards, whatever. With the Tesco, they had everything, and I don't know why, but I was like, so in Suriname we call them jukas. So like a juka is the indigenous people. They first saw Mera and they went crazy. So it's like a term we use. But I was a juka in that Tesco. Like everything, I was like, oh my gosh.
How
Oh
do you
my
think Algica
gosh.
something else? We had another meaning. Like, I never heard that description.
Yeah. But yeah, so for me, it was an experience. I was really excited about Manchester and it fulfilled my excitement. So
Okay, now
yeah,
we
I'm
gotta
good.
go. Well, you went. You've been. Yeah, so I gotta go.
You do. I think you would like it too, Heike.
Okay, yeah, because
It's
Birmingham
different.
was boring.
I
They
heard
say
Birmingham, my mother was like, bye, it ain't got nothing there for you. I said, okay,
it is boring.
genoteerd.
But yeah,
But you know what's been having me on a level? I even was watching the freaking episode at the airport and then my internet cut out and it cut out at such a crazy scene. So guys, we getting into Love Island. If you don't watch Love Island, if you're not here for this Love Island chat, check the chapters. Skip.
but at the same time, we might refer to things that happen in Love Island, but I feel like there's bigger conversations.
Oh, that will be chapterized.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But just the episode itself,
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, that episode was one of the craziest episodes of the season.
I feel like it's given Messy Island.
We need to unpack it because
I don't know what's going on. It had started off so strong.
Did
and now
it?
it did.
Did
I
it?
feel like it started off I guess I knew to this, but it had started off with us feeling like, okay, who will be the couple? Da, 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 da. It was a little messy, but I don't know. Now it's just becoming where is the love?
I feel like it's gone to so much shit you
Really?
can't like bring it back. As in, you know, when like things just pop off to the point where you can't gather everything back and, you know, get it in order. That's Love Island right now.
But I feel like nothing romantic happening. Like, they ain't sending people on dates. But it's like, they're probably checking, like, who the fuck to send on a date?
I mean, they sent Sierra and
yeah,
Nick.
but I mean, like, it used to have.
About recession.
If you
They
could
in a
get
whole house in
all of them
Fiji.
all to Fiji, you could send
24
them,
people in that
and you
freaking
know, it was the
villa.
last date, they put some bikes outside and tell them bike it up the hill and go on a picnic.
Yep.
So maybe it is recession. But I don't know. And I just so frustrated with just how everybody moving
Me
at
too.
this point. I do have my favorites. I still stand on I like Ace. Like,
I don't for him anymore.
I
Sorry
love
for the
this
language.
man so much. Why you don't for him?
I don't have an issue with him, but I have an issue with him.
Explain.
I feel like he has an agenda. I feel like he's not somebody who's doing this experience to do this experience. Of course, most of them are not. However, his agenda to me is very, I could see the gears turning, and I don't like that because I feel like everything he does is calculated. Just from a place of like, who's he going to choose? How is he going to talk to this person? How is he going to go after this person? Same thing with Shelly. Not her being calculated. Him pursuing her, I feel like the whole doing a bunch of stuff for her, he had like a game plan. This is my theory. He came into the villa. He had a game plan. Cool. Shelly is the girl I want to be in the end with because we probably gonna mesh well, and she's well liked.
Yeah.
But he's checking like, let me not get her too soon because we need to build up a journey and not get boring.
Yeah.
So let we make sure we have little obstacles between us, whatever. The whole Amaya thing, you know how I feel about that. And then him proceeding to now want to go pursue Iris, which to me was like, get it together. Then finally ending up with Shelly, and now being upset with Shelly because Shelly's pursuing Chris, who is one other guy that she's Austin and Chris. Those are the only two people, you know. And it's just a case of like, I get where he's coming from with certain things that, you know, he really built himself to a point where he likes her or whatever. But I also just feel like he's playing a game and he's checking like, don't pursue Chris because if it's me and you and we go through this and we overcome it, we in the end, we gonna win.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like his thing is about winning.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I was talking to Joy about it, but it's like, if I go on Love Island, I want to win too. So it's like, at what point do you then end up going?
But then
it sounds so stupid.
But what's the balance between winning and actually
it's
experiencing
hard
something?
because it's like, you go on a show, you want to win the 100K, but I guess the best case scenario would be that you win it finding the love of your life. But what if you're there and you realize none of these people is the love of my life? Do you go home or do you play the game?
But I don't think that is the case that none of them is the love of his life. He and Shelly could probably be like...
We could think that, but we don't know how he's feeling. He could probably really be checking like, I like this girl, but I don't see myself really being with her. Because I agree with everything you say now. I feel like he's being calculated, but it's like, I was thinking realistically, if we end up on a game show and you're not feeling anybody there, I'm not going home.
I hear you, but you know what?
So like, what do you do?
But for me, I genuinely, and this could just be me speaking from just how I am, whatever. But if I go on Love Island, I wouldn't really care to win. Because for one, I know if I in there long enough already, I coming out with a deal or people have seen me, so I could push the podcast
You could
or
hope
stuff
so.
like that. Yeah, exactly. But you could also hope to win. But for me going in there, I wouldn't have that in the forefront in a sense. Mainly because I know this is a cool ass experience.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go on Love Island. I would if it wasn't filmed.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I think it would be so cool to just go out to an island with a bunch of people and, you know,
Yeah.
like... But for the rest, if I did go in there, it wouldn't necessarily be to win. And I think a lot of people who go in there from that point of view end up actually winning just from a place of, like, there's genuinity in it. And that's the issue I'm starting to have with, like, this whole thing where it's like, everything has gone to shit because nobody's being a genuine and everybody have an agenda. So
No,
it just
I
don't
feel
make
like
sense.
We could have hearts and moral compasses, but not everybody does. So to me, it's like when I look at these shows, I could hope they're being genuine.
I don't
but
think
you
it's
could
immoral,
tell-
though, if you're going not to win. I mean, to win.
I don't know it's immoral, but everybody have different... Like, I wouldn't go on a show called Love Island to not find love. Me, personally. Some people would. So I feel like when I listen to how you literally explain what Ace do and it is calculated, and it is. But I could imagine somebody who don't think that way, where it's like, I might not find love here, but I here to win. As in, that is the purpose of going on
But
the
you
show.
ain't find he been calculated from the jump?
Yeah, but I mean, like, I trying to explain where it's like, I agree with you, but I also trying to understand that not everybody think that way. So it's like, on the one hand, I don't know, I don't see it as like, I don't fuck with you because you choosing to play a game. I like him as a I like him as a personality, if you understand what I mean. I don't agree with all his choices and how he moving sometimes with Charlie and how especially now he upset with the Chris thing. But I like his personality. I'm sorry, this man's made me laugh.
No, don't apologize.
Like, no, but the internet too, a lot of people don't fuck with him. But to me, it's like,
We
they
cussing a
all
little bit the same
characters
Patreon.
in yeah, true. We have to. They all characters in a reality show. So it's like some people going to be there for the wrong reasons. So I ain't really. I guess that's not what I just be held up on when I watching the show. To me, it's just more so like make the right choices though.
Yeah, like I wouldn't even say when I speak on it, I held up on that. It's more so like you could just feel that in his energy and it don't resonate with me. Like. I ain't gonna lie, I just probably still upset because of that whole Jeremiah situation. Like, as much as Jeremiah and Huda's thing was both sides
that didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is a case of like this man just was pushing his agenda in that moment, but it just didn't look right to me.
But to me, that wasn't no different than what the girls do. Because I didn't get why Hannah went home.
Yeah, but you could more get why Jeremiah went home. We didn't get why Hannah went home, but we could get why Jeremiah went home. You don't pick up.
I didn't feel like any of them had to go home.
No, but I mean, with the boys, it was more apparent as to why they sent Jeremiah home.
I
With
know
the girls,
but
it was like, what y'all
again,
doing?
Back again to how I seen it, and which is what I was telling Joy. If I on a game show,
I'm going to win.
And I seen this man playing the game better than me.
But that's why Love Island is shit now.
I'm going to send you home.
But I guess because I'm a diehard Love Island fan, it never used to be like that.
I get that.
So that, I think, for me, takes me away from my experience that I'm used to, or experience that I could appreciate. Because with Love Island, we actually was appreciating the love aspect.
Yeah.
And now you don't got it because people playing a game.
Yeah.
And I feel like Love Island used to be less of a game show. Like, even sometimes you would forget that they winning money in the end. Genuinely.
Yeah.
But
I think
now,
they should just take that away, though.
no, because nobody ain't going to really go
No,
on
because
that.
back to what you say, I feel like if we all know, but that's the thing, being on the island, we seen everything going on in the world, but they have no idea how the world perceiving them. So it's that you could go on the show and think you could get a deal after this with brands and stuff like that, but like, not necessarily if brands didn't really like how you was on the show. Because I don't think everybody that ever went on Love Island always just end up.
No, but a lot of them do. The ones who have the longevity.
Yeah, but yeah. What was I saying?
Brands, game.
I forgot what I was saying before that. Oh, they should take away the price because it's like the price spot. Because I feel like if we really want to make this about love, then people are going to start playing from that perspective.
Yeah, but
because then it's like, if we all hear them for the experience and to find love, what the money for?
I feel like we could say that, but they had a price part for time, and this is now a newer approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
That if you take away the price part, there will be a different problem. As in, like, before they were looking for love, even with the price part.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it wasn't perfect.
Yeah.
Trust. But people was more genuine in the way that they move. And of course, everybody had their agenda, but I guess it wasn't as much at the forefront. Now, it's just a case of like, I think even if a price part wasn't there, knowing for one that the more you on a screen, the more probability you could get of like say you playing basketball and you know they're going to scout you, you can't be sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And I think for them, regardless, if the price part gone, there would be a different problem. Because I even feel like with reality TV, it's starting to reach to a point where, is this actually moral, guys? As in the whole setup. As in even Huda crashing out. And then you just pile up on the crash out. Or even...
For them, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess to me, it's like, if we want to make them be there for love, I would take it with the money. But they're going to come with other problems. But it's also like, we have the money and that also come with problems. So it's like,
what do we do? We just
but
watch
also,
and enjoy.
Yeah, but I think at this point, producers and shows, like, they're going to just do what they think is best for the show and not necessarily always the people in it.
For sure.
So, like, for the other thing, I feel like y'all should have packed her
A long time.
Send her home.
They should have rigged them votes about who was in the bottom.
Send her home to her child, like, pay for therapy for her.
Oh.
She get better, but
Yeah, but she still have very ingrained ways of manipulation. But this whole girls chat, because for me that's the reoccurring theme. What do you see girls as a girl's girl? What's a girl's girl?
I guess if you had asked me a couple years ago, I would feel like I was one, because I used to do a lot of things from the standpoint of like, and I guess that's why we're gonna get to how I feel about it now.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of things from the standpoint of like, I wouldn't want, which is contradicted to stuff I used to do back then. But anyway, I wouldn't want to do stuff to go against women, and I would stand up for women all the time, regardless, you know. Whereas I feel now it becomes a place where it's like that sometimes come with a level of not holding people accountable.
That part.
And I don't really do stuff anymore for girls, period, but just maybe for my people around me, if that makes sense. Because certain things people find is girls, like I don't necessarily always be that way, but I don't know. I feel like it feels like a obligation type thing.
I agree.
And I don't like to feel obligated to do anything.
Yeah. For me, I just have my way of being a girl's girl just in who I am. But it's not like I'm going to go out of my way to fit in another box that's been defined. Because I also feel like saying there's this term with girl's girl, that also means you could not be a girl's girl. And I find calling a girl not a girl's girl is just kind of an excuse to judge or shame.
That's usually what people use it for. Like, she's not. I never people say you are girl's girl. When people has always been like, you're not a girl's girl. But I was just there cussing
somebody on the side of the road and it was a woman. Like, they would attribute that to one thing you do. Like, I know the girliest thing I do is anybody, if they say they like something on my outfit, I'm going to tell them one time where I get it from. But that's just a habit.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, I like that pretty little thing.
But that's why I feel like ultimately it boils down to just who you be as a person.
Exactly.
Because I don't consider certain actions to be related to you being a woman. And I think that's how girls operate.
Yeah.
Or people that consider themselves that is like, you should operate this way out of the point of being a woman. You should do it like this way. But to me, I just feel like just out of being a good person.
Period.
You should do things this way. And not necessarily because you're girls. Because then I feel like then that start to play into like, okay, like I guess gender roles. Because then it's like,
there's a
what
separation
you expect from a woman to do for other women, and then I don't know, and then I find it a bit weird. But according to like, for example, Love Island, where it's like there's code in certain things, that's just back to morals, because
like girl code, we used to have girl code. Yeah,
but ultimately, was it really girl code? Or just
but I find girl code was specific to different girl groups. Girls girl I find is too general and it's too very defined.
Yeah.
Girl code was like you kind of learn the girl code within your dynamic of a girl group or whatever.
Sometimes races. Because I hear recently how people was distinguishing like how like white girls can move, like they could date each other boyfriends from the same
they fine with that.
But then like we would never.
Nah.
Like especially from a small island, like sometimes that's hard though. But
I mean, you would have to love, like y'all would have to know that you in love. But we had this conversation before, I think.
I think so.
You know, it is like say, and it's also how deep I was in with the guy. If he was the love of my life and we broke up and now you going to, that's crazy. You shouldn't even like venture there.
Yeah.
However, if I only dated him, because we did have this conversation when we was filming on a tripod in your living room. We had this conversation because I was telling you if I dated him, like if I went on 2 dates, I would be fine with you pursuing him from a place of like maybe y'all more well suited. But you thought that was a bit wild.
I still find that weird.
For me, if I dated him, if we didn't get physical, like genuinely, if we didn't get physical and it was really just we dated twice and there was nothing there. We tried once, we tried twice, it didn't work. And say you meet him, I don't see an issue that mainly because I'm not as invested in him or he wasn't as present in my life for me to think this is somebody that if I see them again, I'm going to have animosity that they dated you or something like that. If it was somebody I had ties to, as in like we had maybe a situationship for like a couple of months or a couple of weeks, then it's a different story. But if I dated a guy, say I find a guy at a party and it didn't work out after 2 dates, my limit is probably 2 days. Like if I go on a third, that mean I like you.
Okay, yeah.
So if it's at 2 dates and you see him And genuinely, you checking like, okay, Jody, there's like something there. I just, want to see what
I
the
guess
thing's
for me,
saying.
from the moment you say you're going on a date with this person,
They off
friend
limits.
zone. Like, I can't even look at
Bye.
them. I could maybe find them attractive, but
Yeah.
never to the point where I feel like I generally, you go and do a CT scan and see nothing.
No, but I think even
Like, there's nothing.
I don't see.
Nothing, but nothing in me feeling anyway. Like, as soon as my friend, like, you could, let's say we sitting on our bed and we looking at Instagram and like, you find that person cute and I find that person not cute. Mm-hmm. And whichever one of us end up on a date first, like, as soon as you leave your house and step out the door and go meet this person, it's over. Like, literally, for me. Like, but it's something I can't control. Like, it really, like, it's like
I've never been in that situation, but also, I just don't think it makes sense that, for one, the market is already shit. Say if I go out with a good man, but we just don't click. And like I say, if we go on 1 or 2 dates, and my friend had like him say we were sitting in bed. In the moment of me saying I'm going on a date with him, I don't expect you to be thinking that for sure.
Yeah.
But after the fact, and it don't have to be directly after, because it's also a bit weird if you go jump on him one time. Mm-hmm. But say like a couple of months down the line or a couple of weeks, are you bump past and you have a really good conversation and you're checking like, that was a really good exchange. Let's continue talking. If it's a guy I date for like 2 times, and I really emphasizing the 2 times because beyond that, it's really not that crazy for me because it's genuinely, we could like the same people. I'm okay with that. I not gonna stop you from finding your potential soulmate because I dated him twice.
I let you right now, I'd find it weird.
No, that's okay. That is totally fine. No, because it is okay. I feel like even when we had it the first time, I was like, there's always 2 kinds of perspective.
I could understand that, but I also just can't relate. And I hear it. Most of the people around me, like, I don't know. I would just write them off. I don't know.
I've never been in a situation, so maybe I would see it differently. But
Me either.
I just know for myself, like, I'm trying to think of a guy I dated, right? Who I only dated twice. I have one. And if you came to me now and you was like, I ain't gonna lie, like, we dating, that wouldn't be wild to me because I only dated him twice. I pecked him once. Yeah.
You kiss him? That's
crazy.
That just make it, I guess I'm going into my interaction with him with you on my mind already. So it's like,
really?
Yes, I'm not going into it and maybe then calls me or girls, then I joking. But like, I mean like my friend on my mind. So it's like from time I see him, like
I know. For me, if it ain't that deep, it's like, why would I stop you from exploring a connection with her? If it was
I mean,
really
if it
like
get to that point, like I have a conversation with a person, I don't know.
But imagine you didn't even. So put yourself in this position. Imagine I dated a guy because this two date guy, you don't know who he is.
Yeah, okay.
Imagine I dated him and now you get like you interact with him, whatever, and y'all go on a date, and then you tell me about him later.
Yeah.
Now say that first date left a really good impression on you, but you didn't know from that from the beginning that I had dated him before. And then now I tell you, oh shit, I dated him, but it was only 2 dates.
Yeah.
For 1, 2 questions. Should I not tell you? And second question.
Tell me 1.
Okay. Because, what if you really like him? But anyway, second question, how would you feel about it then?
That's
Same.
sticky. But like, cause I didn't go into my interactions with you on my mind. Because I went in with it just not knowing that you was ever a pass in their past. So then it's like, now I reached a place. But I trying to tell you, like, if I know you was with the person, it would
but
never
not with
reach
them.
you.
Date them.
If you...
Sorry, dating to me is not our deep.
If I know you went on a date, I know you kissed this man, I know you hold his hand.
Okay, not even kiss him.
Like
One date.
But if I go into it knowing, I could never get it. If I go into it not knowing, that's different.
But I think you say not from a place of like you ain't been in that, like you ever had it. Nah, I don't want to know.
But
if
I
you
mean,
like your
my
friend,
friends have dated people, but it's like one off the bat, like I could
it's
just
written off for sure.
Written off
for sure. But I just think with regards to dating, especially, I know a lot of people who date quite a lot. And I feel like we live in a country that the world could be quite small.
Yeah.
But it's also a case of like, I could accept that not everybody would be for me, but maybe there's a level of like alignment with even somebody in my friend group. It might sound wild, But if somebody's not for me, I know from the jump. So it would not go past 2 dates. And then I know that for me, it's not that deep because I have no ties to that person. I have just explored that person. We've spoken. We've figured out if there's something.
Islandish.
I mean, it is sounding Love Islandish.
I've explored. You could go.
Nah, I don't want to be on Love Island though. I don't want to be on Love Island.
I don't know.
Speaking of that, you see that Scout for the American?
Oh yeah, they having a Caribbean version
I would love
of
to see that.
That would go crazy.
Wow.
I would a Caribbean version.
I see St. Lucia one tala.
I see people comment St. Martin flag. I
They
guess
should.
anybody from the Caribbean could like.
I know the French
And
side.
so-
The French side have like a.
Didn't they have a bodies?
The French side have a
The
love
French side
show.
have a show. The French side have a show.
Je t'aime.
And I think it's in. Yeah, it's not.
Stop.
That's what it's called.
Sorry.
So,
I will Google it.
Really?
But yeah.
Yeah.
But now I fully understand you. It's not a case of like, I feel like that for you, that's a boundary or a standard you set with your friends. For me, it's more so that's something that I don't see as, I don't feel like you doing that to somebody, specifying again, I only dated twice, is going against your loyalty to me or
And I
anything
get
like that.
that. I'm telling you right now,
You just wouldn't do it.
I would not fuck with it.
I hear it.
Like I actually find it weird. And but the thing is like, but on the other hand, I understand that you wouldn't.
No.
But that's not gonna happen.
No, that's fine.
Because
But I
I
also feel like luckily for us, our types differ quite a bit. So we Gucci.
What's crazy is that only you knowing is what changing that. So your interaction with a man and you actually falling in love with a man where
Yeah.
you would cancel all of that out.
Because you know I dated him.
You know you would have still fallen in love with a man. You still make
So you would stop loving a man just because I dated him. Haiti.
That was gonna say something wild.
What? Say it. Say it with your chest.
You
Patreon, we're gonna insert the clip and then we're gonna circle back. Okay,
It's like a story from Patreon.
what?
I had a guy, I had like him so much. And
Yeah.
then he tell me he have. And then that cancels out everything I feel. Cause it's like that.
Haiti,
I
that
was
wild.
married.
So you comparing me to dating him twice.
Okay with but the kind of person I am, some people will be okay with that. Like, oh, you have that's fine.
But it's not in the same room.
I trying to explain how I am as a person that on my mind. If you tell me if you tell me, hey, just so you know, I can't be with you.
No, that I understand. But if you find a guy and y'all hit it off and you're checking like, this is a feeling I've never felt in my life. And then you come tell me about it and be like, oh, that's amazing. Da, 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 da,
And
da.
I say, but he
And eventually I'll be like, I'm not gonna lie, in 2019, I went on a date with him, but it never worked out. You're gonna be like,
yeah.
okay, I think let's put it there. Like, honestly, for me, I could understand that as a boundary.
Are you making it sound like, and I know.
No, like, for you, it's more so, yeah.
No, but I mean, like, of course, one is way more serious than the other.
No, yeah.
But I guess, like, in my head, that's on my mind.
You know, I just think, I'm like, I'm not gonna get in the way of love. Like, that genuinely was in my head. I don't have any feeling of pride or any feeling of like, this affects me like this, because for me, I respect you and I know you respect me. So you doing that, I wouldn't see that as a means of disrespect. I would see it as a means of, girl, you found a connection and you checking it out, and it's not a connection that I had that's deep enough for me to actually think it's deep.
You're the first friend I have that feel that way. So this would be like,
Y'all
if
let's
that
have
was to
conversations
happen,
about it.
like my other friends, that like they probably even worse than me.
Yeah, but they specifying this 2-date thing, or they really saying
Like,
a guy they checking?
You can't talk, like, if you talk to the person, if like, for me, it could even be like you talk on the phone, that probably wouldn't. But if you like actually went out on 2 dates, because you're going with the 2 dates thing,
Yeah, 2 dates.
that is right off for me.
So
But I
even
have
like you
friends
match
that,
on
like,
Tinder.
I have friends that like, I have friends that's like, if they talk to the person, it would be so weird if I end up talking to the person.
So
Like, it's
even if
like-
they talk to the person,
my
it ain't
boundary
work out.
even like less of a boundary than theirs.
So, or there's like 1 date you can't talk to him, or
One
if you
date.
talk to him,
Just talk.
okay.
Yeah. Like, so like, but in general, Like, why? Because this whole conversation started off with me saying that's something white girls do, but that's basically the same thing.
No.
but I mean, like, we don't know what the boundaries is.
First you saying is and now you put it in the same room with white girls.
No,
as in like comparison.
No, I started off the whole thing with saying that they were saying that with
They
white
would date each other, man.
Yeah, but that could also, that could be boyfriends. That could also be if they went on a date with them.
No, because if you my man, you my man.
No.
If you somebody, I checking you somebody, I checking.
She was saying in the conversation I'm referring to that within that community, if you even go on a date with them, the other friend would go on a date with them, or it could be like just the whole spectrum of dating and boyfriendism.
Yeah, I feel like
she had in this conversation, like attached that to how white girls move. But so it's like I was like that's kind of the same, but just not the boyfriend aspect. So the aspect
plus
of like
it's
you
also
them.
not aspect that I speaking on that could probably be probable. I feel like with white girls, maybe it's a culture for them to be like, oh, he's not for me. Maybe you should try him out. My thing would be like, ooh,
if it happened, it happened.
Yeah, but also it could be a past thing of like we dated years ago or months ago or whatever. And it's just a rare case that you bump into the same guy I dated. And then I'm like, it was 2 dates or 1 date. It's not that crazy. I wouldn't be like, oh, your man is cute. If he don't work out with you, I'ma check him out.
But that's still fun to me, all in the same category.
I hear it.
But back to girls.
Yeah.
Because that was a whole, I guess that's one of those things where it's like you were saying, it could be back to girl code. It depends on your environment.
For sure.
So like, I guess how I see it, or my standpoint is because I grew up in an environment where it's like, that wasn't allowed.
Mine either.
Yeah, so it's like, you could come into a new environment where it is. So it's like, there's different things where it's like, girls could change. This is dating, but there's other things. Like,
for sure.
It could be simple as like telling me what outfit you're going to wear before you go out. Maybe some people will find this girl code. Whereas, for me, that's weird.
What, telling you what I'm going to wear before I go out?
I said that before on that episode too. Like, you could have... Yeah. I don't mind it, but I don't get why me telling you what I'm going to wear should influence what you're going to wear.
Oh, like that. Okay,
like,
I fully
there's
understand.
light things and there's big things that people consider girl code. You know? Whereas some people find out weird, like, why you just don't tell the person.
Yeah, I feel like I would question why the person asked me, but it depends. Like, for the live show, that made sense because we got to coordinate.
That's like literally putting on a show. So
but if we going out, if we going out, it's a different story. I ain't gonna lie, I used to do that when I was younger, but it's more so that we look cohesive. Not in a sense of like, I just wanted to know, okay, you wearing a short skirt, long skirt, whatever. Okay, I gonna also wear a short skirt. But I feel like when you're younger, you just want to look like your friends. Like we used to wear the same shirt sometimes.
But I feel like that kind of still spill over into adulthood.
Yeah, now I don't really do that.
And I feel like we all have our own individual styles now. So it's like, I don't get...
Yeah, the need to... Nah, that I fully understand.
But that's a light kind of version of girl code. I don't know if you have other things.
But I feel like with girl code... I don't have much things that go against girl code. I feel like it just goes against being a nice person or a kind person. It's like what you say. A lot of these things, they could be defined from a place of, for one, some girl code is set in place to prevent or to sniff out jealousy amongst friends. Because I noticed the whole outfit thing too. That was definitely a case. I think another thing with girl code is, I feel like my interactions with the women I have sometimes is not a girl code thing. It's more so that's a good, great dynamic. Like, you know, when your friends hype you up or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is the positive side of girl code. So not things that are violating, but more so things that elevating.
Yeah.
That part.
And then that's why it goes into like, it doesn't really fall under
it's subjective.
Being a woman, because I have male friends who would hype me up too.
That part.
You know?
But I feel like this whole girl code thing was kind of a way for like us to have something that is a movement per se that would uplift us or remind us to be nice to each other because we don't really get that same treatment from men or whatever.
True.
But I feel like now it's reached a point where it's like blown out of proportion, in my opinion.
It kind of goes into this. The book I read now is called, shit. But anyway, she basically coming for liberal feminists.
Yeah.
And like, I forget, I need the title. It's in my bag.
We're going to insert the title here.
No. The case against the sexual revolution.
Yes.
And I guess within reading this book, I realized I do have a lot of ideologies that might fall under liberal feminism.
Yeah.
But then her case is literally like moving that way is not helping women in general, which goes back to a conversation that was happening on the Patreon, because I talk about it on that episode, and I actually buy the book now to read it. And then that made me wonder, but then when some people talk about feminism, they just talk about it from a standpoint that you have your own feminism, I have my own feminism.
Like, now there's different categories of feminism.
And then
within
to me,
itself.
it's like, what should we do? Like, is that okay? Like, if everybody, should we just continue living in a world where everybody having their own feminism? If like, and I guess that goes into girls' code, but it's like, how does that help us?
But you see, that's the thing. That's what I was saying with this whole, like, from that previous episode we had with the clusters. I feel like the fact that we are so intertwined qua demographics and just cultures that now we're making subcategories for categories that was already made based on one, gender. Now there's a subcategory because there's different cultures that have different norms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could apply the same to different just generations. And then on top of that, different dynamics in just groups of women or what you may have it. And I feel like, what do we do? I don't think there's an answer for that. Because I think what we do, the answer will change in every different dynamic. And that's why it's so difficult to navigate these things, because I think I said this before, we don't have the same shared experiences anymore.
Yeah.
If we was, per se, in a demographic that was like not strictly exclusive, but more so not so that sounds bad. Like not to exclude people, but not so inclusive of so many different influences, we could more so define, and not even define from a place of actually saying it, but feeling it, what movements make sense in that dynamic. But I feel like because it's become so nuanced and the conversation has become so much bigger because of like the way in which we're influenced by everything else, it's more difficult to have an answer because there's no one answer.
I don't think there is. And I think ultimately when you have religion and race, like there's always going to be different levels of feminism. Because that's why I also do believe. But when I read books like this, it's like, if we all listen to you in your book, then you're trying to say then that there's a specific way that we all should carry ourselves and act for
the liberation of women.
No, not even that, because I don't know if that's the point. But like for the good of women then. Because then if according to her, if we continue moving this way, especially when it comes to like casual sex and like they're going to always like, you know, have an effect on women in general. But then it's hard to have a specific way to move.
And I think sometimes we're more scared to speak on different ways of moving because it really gets pushed into the judgment factor, or it gets pushed into an ignorant factor. So even with speaking up, I just feel like a lot of people shy away from these conversations because they don't really want to say something, or there's just a case of like they don't think that if they say something, it'll do anything.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part of it. But I just feel like having more conversations like these, at least within the girl groups that we have, and setting those boundaries or setting those girl codes or whatever, that's a case of like understanding. But you always meet new people. Even with me traveling to Manchester and shit, I go meet people and they're going to be different. But I noticed like the people I met, the core is quite similar. And I think that's quite refreshing. And I feel like one thing I noticed, if say there's one girl code that's broken or something, sometimes you think, okay, cool, write it off. But I realize even though these people I met, they're new and our core is similar, maybe they might have one or two things that is different from mine. But it doesn't take away from who they are. And I don't see it as wrong. I just see it as their perspective. And I think if things were viewed more like that, we could have like a cohesive message amongst feminism in the different groups. I just think that's a harder like point to reach, because everybody thinks if you think this way, there's always a right and wrong, or there's always, but I think this is better. And you will always have that discourse. And then that creates the disconnect.
That's true. I think that's something I've tried to work on.
I hear it.
Yeah. But because it's like you could all move different, because back to the whole conversation we're just having, like some people might do things and you're not doing it from a malicious place. Like let's say you do meet a person that you vibe with, that I had 2 dates with, I could in that moment, like.
No, I would never do that to you because you set a boundary.
No, but I mean, like, let's. Okay, do you want another example then?
No, you can still go off of it.
No, but I mean, like, in that moment, then that would call for me to then really meet you halfway and come from your perspective of, like, that wasn't your intention. We're using this as an example.
Yeah.
Back to, like, because then I could also continue, but, like, no, I find this F up and da-da-da and keep moving, and I find the right way to move is.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, based on what you're saying, too, is, like, we're not going to get anywhere ever if, like, people keep moving that way rather than try to meet the person from who they are. I guess I'm trying to say that, like, with a lot of things I find weird, especially if you ask 5 years ago, Haiti, I wouldn't accept. Then it's like, so what you trying to say? I forget how you worded it just now, but you was like, sometimes people do things from different perspectives.
Yeah.
And you're trying to look at it from their perspective. I can't remember how you worded it.
Yeah.
You know,
we gonna rewind. It again. Nah, but yeah.
So
I know what you're
like,
referring to.
Even in that point, in that moment, that was something the person didn't accept. And then that's asking for them to, like, come out of their point of view and try to understand another point of view.
Yeah.
And then that becomes hard if a person feels like how they move is the right way to move.
Exactly.
So then to me, that's with anything. That could be like...
I hear it, yeah.
You know? There's different things. So that's why I say maybe I should use another example.
Yeah. But I mean, I do get where you're coming from fully.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's, honestly, guys, that's the trend in the world and it's getting worse. Mainly just from a place of, like, there's so much definitions of right or wrong.
Yeah.
But, you know, I always say this, I always believe that there's a bunch of truths from a place of, like, you grew up different. So you live your life built on perspectives or on norms or on things that you've seen and experienced that contribute to your, like, your experience. My stomach is talking too. But anyways.
I ain't hear it. You had hear it?
Everybody, because we hungry. Anyway, sorry. But contribute to different ways in which you move in the world.
Yeah.
And I feel like now, because it's such a nuanced conversation and because we don't have one set example of moving, like how I say with a cluster, you know your demographic, you have a shared experience of how to move. Now, because that's so, like, complex, I feel like people are moving in so many different ways because they have now so many different influences. And that's why I always try to see it from this person has a different perspective because they're just different from me. It doesn't mean that they've come with malice intent. Yeah. It's like this guy said, don't attribute malice to what could be ignorance.
Did you see the whole B-Simone thing?
No, what happened?
But I mean, in general, over the past few years, people have been trying to say you would not consider her a girl's girl, if you're going to put it that way.
Yeah.
Because she does a lot of things very selfishly and from her own. So even back to the podcast they had, where it was like, I remember we talked about it. I can't remember
when she fall out with her podcast partner. Yes.
And the person was Megan was trying to tell her, like, I don't feel comfortable doing this podcast if we're not friends.
Yeah.
And B-Simone was basically like, I could do it even though we're not friends.
And then she made a whole trailer for her new podcast and they had an extra chair and they pull out the chair. Yeah.
Now, recently on her same podcast, one of her best friends come on and was talking about how she had times where she was struggling and was on food stamps and had to live with her parents. And everybody was like, and B-Simone's reaction was, Jesus. And everybody was like, that's your reaction?
That's your reaction.
And then the friend was saying that, like, I had see you help a lot of other people in the time and da-da-da. But I think the friend still wasn't even coming from a place of, like, I had expect you to help me. Maybe that was what she was hinting at, but she didn't say it directly. Yeah. And everybody reacting, saying, once again, you're not a good friend because of that. And then they had further in the podcast episode, the friend now gets an opportunity. I don't know what opportunity is. And she called B-Simone to tell her, like, hey, I get this really good opportunity, and da-da-da. And B-Simone tell her, she hung up. And she called back and was like, I don't like how I feel. Like, basically admitting that, like, she didn't say the word jealousy, but she's feeling jealous and she doesn't like that she get this opportunity.
You can't first say congrats and then go unpack your feelings by yourself.
Which is what everybody, I had to even agree with Joe Budden, but I do like him. Sorry, guys. But, like, he was even saying, because he talked about it on his podcast, like, tell her congrats and hang up the phone and go deal with that yourself. You know what I mean? But she literally tell her that. And then that's where I mean, where it's like, and in those moments, we would all be like, there's a right way to move. But then there's people where it's like, if you meet them halfway and try to come from their perspective and be like, at the end of the day, though, you could say like she was honest in how she was feeling. Because, for example, something I also recently heard where it's like, we just say jealousy is a bad thing. And it is a negative emotion, but we acting like it's not human.
But I feel like sometimes we use the whole human thing as an anchor. Like with the whole Joe Budden thing and not with Joe Budden, with B-Simone and the whole if it's wrong or right.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think it's a case of being wrong or right. I think it's a case of handling something in a way that's more productive. Because your friend having a high and just because you have a low, you taking her down to that low with you. I don't fully see that as conducive to a healthy friendship.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, cool, y'all wrong or right. I don't want to, like, really put it in a box. I also think this is something that needs to be worked on from a place of, like, I know in myself that if I feel a type of way because, say, you got an opportunity that I wanted, on the phone or to your face, I'm going to be happy for you because at the end of the day, it's something that's good that's happening to you. For me to feel bad about that, there's a level of selfishness that I do feel would need to be addressed. And it's just a case of like, when I speak on this whole wrong or right and the perspectives, is more so not to just come at the person one time. Because what B-Simone did, I feel like could have been handled better. But that's something she could work on. I feel like now we would see that and see what she did and be like, oh, she's a terrible person, yada, yada, yada. But
I agree with everything you're saying. I was just trying to say, like, that's why I find it tricky to be like, at the end of the day, it's hard to look at, it's hard to always be like, you have to try to understand people's perspective because some things to some people are, I also just find right and wrong. So this B-Simone thing, I just find it wrong. I just generally think she really also, and she just talk about God and she just talk about therapy and it's just like, we 5 years later and you still a shit person, basically.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we have to understand a person from a place of like fully knowing why they do what they do or even taking the time to invest in knowing why they do what they do. I just more so mean now people are like immediately put into boxes of invalid, not from a place of like what she doing is valid, but just as a person in general. I feel like a lot of times when people say or do certain things, we invalidate them quicker than I feel like at least what we used to, because we would allow people to make mistakes. With B-Simone, I feel like she's a very specific example because she's done a pattern of things. It's like Buddha.
That's when it's tricky.
But
what happens when it's a pattern?
Then it's no longer my business.
Yeah.
You understand? Where it's like, I'm not speaking from a place of like continuing to deal with the same thing from one person. I'm speaking from a place of like, now if one person does something and it's, say, the first time they do it, sometimes we literally write it off one time. Or we see it as wrong, so we see them as wrong. And that's what I notice is like...
But seeing them as wrong, what I mean to you?
As say their morals was displaced or they made a mistake that went against their morals, we would see them as like a bad person or a shit person. You understand? Where it's like, I feel like people do certain things with a whole different perspective things or just because they don't see it as malice.
Yeah.
And they don't realize how it affect another person. I do feel like a lot of the times people know what they're doing and they know how it would affect a person. But let's say you never set a boundary with somebody and it has been done. I feel like now we go into that with like, now you did this and it's just shit. Rather than, why did you do that? I don't feel like we have the curiosity of why people do things anymore.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I find it tricky.
It's tricky. Like, it is genuinely tricky because it also depends on what they do. Because there's things that I could take and there's things that cross the line that regardless if you knew or you didn't know if it was malice, for me, I can't bank on the next thing you knowing or not knowing being worse. Yeah. You understand? So I do think it's a case of like what they do. But I feel like now the things that people do or do say, even with cancel culture, I feel like they become smaller to a bigger punishment, if that makes sense. I guess because it's with social media and everybody could jump on the same bandwagon. But I also feel like just because of all these different perspectives and now nobody having the same like, okay, moral, girl code, whatever. Yeah. That makes sense.
I hear what you say, but I'm so hungry and not sure.
Well, let we go eat.
Well, yeah, we're gonna end it.
We're gonna eat, guys. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. I didn't hit y'all with the liking and subscribing during this episode, so I spared you. However, if you do like, comment, and subscribe, our belly's gonna be so full. So please hit that subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend. We love y'all for tuning in. We thank y'all. If y'all have any opinions, anything y'all want us to talk about, let us know. And we will catch y'all
comments,
bi-weekly. Check out, be ready for the episode that's coming out the next week after this episode, because it's about to be lit. We ain't gonna tell all you who was on this sofa, but
I mean,
you can maybe make a guess.
If you don't know the voice.
Yeah, if you ain't know the voice,
crazy.
yeah, but maybe you should guess. Put in the comments
what you think is the next.
Because she was saying something in the back there, so maybe she or he. I didn't say nothing. I didn't give y'all a clue. But anyways,
give a clue.
It's okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.